So Curtis Blaydes and Pavlovich, look, there's a lot going on here, and you're going to have to go find it on your own, right? You're just not going to get it from these guys. I don't want to give them a hard time about that. I feel as though I don't understand the Curtis Blaydes thing. I just don't. Curtis Blaydes is representative of everything that I've ever heard somebody's looking for in MMA to be a fan of. He's tall, he's skilled, he's hungry, he's young, he's awesome. He's a top guy. He's a future prospect. He's all these different things where you'd want to jump on the bandwagon. And I just don't see it happening. And I've even asked you guys a number of times over the course of a couple of years, what is it that Curtis did? He did something that collectively pissed you guys off or turned you off. I just want to know what it is. I haven't seen it. I just haven't seen it. Curtis Blaydes, from an X's and O's standpoint, is the hardest fight for Jon Jones. I don't know that there's a heavyweight out there that would disagree with that statement. I don't know that Jon Jones would disagree with that statement. That's attractive. That right there is a very attractive thing if you're looking for number one contenders. Now let's look at Sergei. Sergei Pavlovich, 18-1, 20-1. It's something crazy. He's a knockout artist. Knocked out the last four guys and was all in the first round. I'm getting you close here, right? Don't think you have to credit me. I'm just talking about this is an up-and-comer. This is the Russian. I mean, that story's never not going to work. The Russian versus the American, right? You can thank Sylvester Stallone and Rocky for that, but that story is always going to work. And we know that Pavlovich can fight for a world championship. That is not questioned and cannot be questioned. We know that because he weighed in to fight for a world championship and nobody resisted. That was the time. That was the time right there. If you don't agree that Pavlovich could have gone into a main event world title fight, that was your time to speak up, and nobody did. And I do mean nobody. Not even the haters and the naysayers said that he should not be a guy that can step in to take on Surreal or to take on Jon on a day's notice. So now that we know that he can do that, what is he missing? Why is he not doing it? Well, he's not as popular as Stipe. I mean, it starts to get real interesting, right? You got a guy, I love Stipe. But to tell the story, I've got to tell it this way, right? You got a guy that you woke up. In his last fight, you woke him up and you carried him out of there. You didn't even interview him. You woke him up. That's the guy. That's the guy, 40 years plus and removed from the sport for, is it 2 years now? That's the guy. When you have the option, right? You're talking about it could be his last fight ever. When you have the option to bring in a young Russian with a much more impressive record. And what have you done for me lately? Well, I slept 4 guys inside of 5 minutes. That's what I've done for you lately. I pulled out of training camp unprepared and weighed in to take on the guys you're telling the world are the best. That's what I've done for you lately. And I'm getting ready to put a beating on the hardest matchup you have for Jon Jones, and I'm going to do it on the worldwide leader of ESPN. That's what I've done for you lately. God damn, that is a good argument. That's a good argument. How do you get around that? How do you have Sergei Pavlovich stop Curtis Blaydes on ESPN, making it 5 for 5 inside of 5? You weighed him in and told the world he was good enough to do it. Now he's got another victory, and you're going to tell the world that he's not the guy to do it. The guy that we woke up, who sat for 2 years, that's the guy that's going to do it. It ain't going to happen, just so you understand. That is not the way this story is going to go. And I'm bringing this to you because I don't know what's going on with that fight. But I know guys that negotiate themselves out of a job. I know guys that think that they're safe and they think they're secure. And they have a very hard time learning. And recent history tells us we will work around them. We had a beautiful guy with a beautiful record, a beautiful championship called the world title named Francis Ngannou that for whatever reason did not want to show up in Houston, Texas and take on Derek Lewis, and we carved him right out and we had an interim championship. We did our best to never bring him back, and Ciryl Gane was 1 point from 2 of 3 judges away from erasing that from the history books. In all fairness, that's what we attempted to do, and we had no problem with it. Didn't lose a bit of sleep. December of last year, we tried to put Jones and Stipe together. We don't know which one of them was a pain in the ass, but we know it was one of them. We didn't get the fight. We moved to March. We don't know which one of them was a pain in the ass, but we know it was one of them because we didn't do the fight. And now in some make-believe land, the match that we wanted, which is Jones versus Stipe, to headline International Fight Week, has apparently been moved to the Garden in November. My ass. No effing way that's true. Not with Sergei versus Blaydes coming up on Saturday. No way. Whatever the problem is that has kept the firemen and the cokehead from finding each other, whatever he said, I mean, that was unnecessary. Right? We're having a perfectly nice time over here. Like, that was just unnecessary roughness by me. Oh, I'm just a genius. But you can't get this anywhere. So you got the firemen and the cokehead, and whatever has kept them apart for an entire year and 3 events is just magically going to come together. Why? Why come together? What story are you going to tell? Hey, we got these 2 old dogs, and they're going to go fight. These guys are so old. As a matter of fact, I think it's going to be their last fight. I guess that's a story that you could tell if you were desperate and had no other stories to tell. Nowhere in promotion history have we gone with that one. But yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah, but drag them out there. But I don't. What's the point? Or go with the guy who just starred 5 for 5 inside of 5. Look at that. Look at that. That's right off the top of my head. 5 for 5 inside of 5. You can't get that. Sergei Pavlovich's fat ass won't put anything interesting out, but I just did it for him. He got 5 for 5 inside of 5. You put him in a backup position, which means you signified to the world he's good enough to do it, and now he's got another victory. Oh, and by the way, he's willing. There's nobody that's going to waste their time trying to get a fight together for Madison Square Garden that they've already failed at 3 times. They're going to go with Pavlovich if he wins on Saturday. So if you don't want that to be true, or you think that for the first time ever Chael's going to be wrong, which in my illustrious career, I've got a big old goose egg in that category. I have never been wrong. If you don't want Sergei Pavlovich to come in and steal the fight from you once he goes 5 for 5 inside of 5, sign the contract. Get it done before bell time. That's my advice to you.